All right, welcome to the latest edition of the Mobile Learning Video Diary. And I've got a colleague with me here today, Anne-Gaelle Colom from the Dept of Computer Science. Thank you very much for coming along, Anne.
Thank you very much.
So, in fact, you and I have known each other for a number of years. We both joined in 2000.
That's correct,
I think,
yes.
Yeah? Wow, it's been a long time. So I invited you along today to talk about your experiences of using the iPad in the classroom. Can you just say first, what has been your general impression of using a mobile device like an iPad in teaching?
I found the students really like it because they often are using a mobile device anyway in the classroom. So having activities during lectures and tutorials on the iPad meant that actually they were focused more on what was happening in the classroom.
Okay.
And so that was a really positive positive thing I found using the iPad in the classroom.
So they've got the devices anyway. So
Yes.
rather than say using Facebook or Twitter, they're actually doing some work. So they're more engaged with the lesson.
Absolutely, yes.
Great.
Yes.
Okay. Have there been any specific apps that you found particularly useful?
So I've used Nearpod, which is an application in which you can have presentations and activities. So that's what I've been using mainly.
Okay, and I know there was one specific occasion where you found sort of Nearpod very useful. Do you want to describe that?
Sure, yes. So we were in a tutorial for a module called Advanced Client-Side Web Development.
Right.
And we were 8 minutes into the tutorial, so we'd only just started, and I just launched a Nearpod session. And one of the students emailed me saying, I'm really concerned, I can't make it, I won't be able to attend the tutorial, there are problems on the train, will I lose any marks? And I could feel he was very worried, and I thought, hang on, you could actually maybe join this session. I was not sure what device the student had with him, and I said, oh, if you have your iPad, launch Nearpod, this is the session code, and see whether you can join us and do the tutorial with us. Okay.
Can you just say a little bit first about what were you doing in the tutorial with Nearpod? How were you using it in the tutorial?
So in the tutorial, it was the first tutorial on the module, so we were just identifying HTML5 elements. So what I did was we had a few web pages. We had 3 web pages, and the students had to, it was sort of faded, so the students could draw on top of it.
Okay.
And they could just use the drawing tool using in the Draw It activity, which is part of Nearpod, and they would just draw blocks of various elements, and then they would, on top of that, identify which HTML5 elements they would use for each identified block.
Okay, interesting. And they were able to then, in the tutorial, share the work with you, so that you could then discuss it as a class.
That's right. So the students would submit their drawing. As a teacher, you receive all the drawings. You have all of them. You can pick one and share it with the class, and then, as you said, project it onto the main board, and then discuss it as a class.
Okay. And what about the student who was stuck on the train? Was he able to share his work with the class?
He was, yes.
Okay.
So the communication was a bit tricky because I was not sure what applications he was able to use. So we could not communicate in real time, which was a problem, but not something we could solve there and then. So we thought, well, we'll use what we know we have, which is email. So the communication was somewhat awkward, asynchronous, yes. Okay. And so what I did was I used a student account, so I registered as a student. I joined the session as a student as well. I started doing the activity, submitted it, then as a teacher I used that activity, shared it with the rest of the class, so the student who was not with us was able to see and get an idea.
Interesting.
Get an idea of what he was supposed to do.
Okay.
And then I started the activity again. So maybe he was wondering what is going on, but then he realised, oh, I see what's happening.
Okay. So even though he wasn't able to physically attend the tutorial, he was able to contribute and follow along.
Absolutely,
okay.
yes.
Even on a train?
Yes, yeah. Even on a train, yes.
Okay.
So what was interesting is then the students who were in the classroom was like, oh, so that means in the future we can do these tutorials from home. And then I thought, hang on, I could do this from home as well.
Yeah, okay. I don't think we should go too far down that road.
No.
So how do you see this, having got some experience now with mobile devices in the class, how do you see it changing your teaching in the future?
I think, well, there are best ways to make use of these activities, and I think it'd be good to have some indication of what works best for what. At the moment, I think we're just trying various things. I think it's really good because you can engage the students a lot more. The students seem to really like it, but of course there's a problem of time to prepare.
Yes, very much so.
All these things take time, and sometimes there's a difference between what the tutor sees and what the student sees, so you have to really try out the activities as both the tutor and students.
You do, yeah. I found that as well. Actually, it's you get, as you said, you get one view as a teacher, but you need to also kind of trial it or rehearse it as a student in order to understand it from their point of view.
And also, when you build the activities, sometimes you'll say, okay, I'll try this activity, but you have no idea what's going to happen. So you may have to repeat, to build it 3 times before you actually get what you want. Yeah. And the other problem I've found is if you have other tutors tutoring on your module, you also have to train them.
Yes.
So that's also another issue, is finding the time.
And more time as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's excellent. Thank you very much for talking about your experience, and I hope that's been useful for other people as well. So, see you next time. Thanks.